Hey y'all, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Wildflowers Reality. I have tried desperately to kind of just push through and keep making content, put a smile on my face, because content is what makes me happy. Making content for you guys, talking with you guys in the comments section, having conversations, that is what brings me joy, and that's what brings me happiness. One of the many things, but it does. And recently that has not been the case. So I want to talk about that a little bit and also just discuss what's going on. Before I get into it, I do want to say welcome to all of the new faces. I am so happy to see you guys, and I hope you enjoy the second channel and the content here. I am really going to be making a cautious effort to make this channel more of a priority. Over here, I can be so much more transparent about things that I am going through, things that I've went through, things I'm struggling with, and discuss those things with you. I also want to say thank you to all of you who have been reaching out with your thoughts and prayers for me and my family. That means so very much to me, more than words could ever express. I know I've said it so many times, but there are days in my life where just seeing those comments and seeing you guys sending me well wishes or positive vibes or sending just a positive word of encouragement really does help to push me through the day. And that's been a thing more and more the last couple of weeks. So thank you so very much. I appreciate you all. I mentioned this in a recent live stream. I also made a recent community post about it, but my biological father has been battling with cirrhosis of the liver and is also very much diabetic, and has a lot of other occurring health issues as well. He has hepatitis C that he has been battling along with the cirrhosis of the liver, and it has been a long uphill battle. I have talked about it a little bit over here on this channel, how my father is an alcoholic and a addict. Unfortunately, it has tremendously affected his health and his quality of life. About 6 years ago now, maybe longer, is when he started to get very sick and found out that he had cirrhosis of the liver and hepatitis C. He went through the long process of going a year without drinking, which was a massive step for him. He stopped smoking. He stopped doing everything to try to get on the liver transplant list. But unfortunately, due to his lifestyle and due to his life choices, after that year and going through all the doctor's appointments and seeing all the teams of doctors, family being there, it just wasn't enough. And what it basically boiled down to is his lifestyle. There are so many people on that liver transplant list, and as heartbreaking as it is, I also understand that choices that he's made in his life and has continued to make has brought him to this place that he's at now in his life. And that doesn't make it hurt any less. That doesn't make any of it easier. It actually makes it harder, knowing that he has kind of been his own demise. But I have so much love and empathy for him, because after he went through that year of really trying and doing things right and still not being approved, I think he just hit this phase of like, screw it. And he started drinking and using again. Me and my biological father's relationship has never been your average father-daughter relationship. He did not really come into my life until I was an adult. Of course, I knew who he was. He was kind of in and out, but it was very brief. I think he came and visited me one time when I was like 6 or something, and then I didn't see him again until I was like 13, 14, and then I didn't see him again until I was grown. But once I hit 18 and was an adult, and let me just say, there is a whole backstory behind that. I discussed some of that in my interview with Discovering Nicole or Nicole's accountability. I will leave that link down below if any of you guys haven't seen it and you would like to just know a little bit more about me. It does go into a little bit more detail, but there's so much more. There's so much more. He does have 3 other sons from different relationships, and I am not only his oldest, but his only daughter as well. I really tried to be a part of his life, to make more of an effort to be in his life, probably more than any child should have to. I desperately wanted to have some type of normalcy when it came to my relationship with my father, and that's the truth. But that day never came, and it felt like I was running in circles, constantly heartbroken, being filled with broken promises, and even as an adult, that hurts. It doesn't matter whether you're a kid or not. I think I got used to it as a kid, so you do kind of get numb to it, but it also was very difficult, and it brought back a lot every time that he would stand me up, or every time he would do something like that. It would bring back all of those feelings of all the birthdays, all the times that he would tell me he was going to come and never showed up, you know, when I was a kid. I also put him up on a pedestal as a child. It was so unknown to me, and I wanted to believe that. I wanted to believe that my father was some kind of major superhero who was going to come in and save me and take me away and love me. And, you know, it's so sad. As I got older and as I started hanging out with my father, it became very toxic. I chased him in that dream of having some kind of relationship, to where I started drinking with him and using with him, because that was the only thing that we had in common. And when I drank with him or I used with him, we had a good time. And almost every time it ended badly. It ended traumatically. We would go to bars, and I wasn't even 21, okay? But he would sneak me alcohol in the vehicle, and I would go out and drink like that. A lot of times once we got to the bar, I would already be wasted. And it always ended badly. I cannot tell you how many times I was left at the bar where he and his friends would literally just leave me, and I wouldn't know how I was going to get home. I couldn't get in touch with him. There were a couple of times he would get locked up for fighting because he got belligerent and someone would fight him, and then I had to go and get him out. It just got worse. He started using, and I started using with him. It's difficult to talk about a lot of this stuff because it's a lot of trauma and a lot of stuff that I think I tucked back for so long. And I don't want people to think badly of my father. That's the thing too, is he's made a lot of shitty choices in his life, but he also had a shitty childhood. He didn't have a father there, and he was kind of like a product of his raisings, I guess you could say. Really messed up, had a lot of trauma in his life that he just refused to ever go and get help for. And he has told me so many times he made the choice to stay out of my life and not come in and out so much. Not because he didn't love me, but because he didn't want to fuck me up. There's a part of me that's really grateful for that, because as I've talked about before, I had a stepdad who came into my life when I was 5 years old, and he was an amazing dad. He was an amazing dad, full-time dad, accepted me as his own, wanted to adopt me, you know, like, he was incredible. And because of him, I had stability, and I knew what it felt like to be loved and accepted, and I am very grateful for the childhood that I had. You know, it wasn't perfect, but I was raised by a man who showed me what hard work and ethics are, who showed me how to be kind, how to have a good heart, you know, and just be a decent person, and I'll be forever grateful for that. But even with having my stepdad, you know, of course, I knew he wasn't my real dad, and that bothered me. It bothered me that my father, didn't want me, and I never understood why until I got older and realized that it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me at all. He was just a tortured soul. My stepdad and my mother very much did try to protect me and keep me from my dad. My mother was told not to let him in my life by a judge. And I got older and I got old enough to make decisions for myself. I made some pretty bad decisions in the sake of trying to have a relationship with him. I'll never forget, like, our first Father's Day that I spent with him. I asked my stepdad, it was his last year on this earth because he died from stage 4 colon cancer. And if I had known it was going to be his last year, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, I asked him if he would be upset with me if I spent Father's Day with my father, because I never had before, and he was going to be in town. And of course, I'm sure that broke my dad's heart. I'm sure it did. But of course he said, sure, if that's what you want to do, I understand. And that was the worst Father's Day of my life. I was only 18 years old. Definitely shouldn't have been drinking. It definitely shouldn't have been, you know, all of these things. But my dad and his friend got super wasted. And his friend kept trying to flirt with me. He was much younger. He was like in his 20s. But still, he kept trying to flirt with me. My dad got real mad about it. And then they ended up beating the crap out of each other. I will never forget, like, his friend beat him till he literally knocked him out. And then he ran off and just left. And left me there to deal with it. I'll never freaking forget, like, stepping over my father and trying to see if he was conscious, trying to see if he was still breathing, because I had never been around anything like that in my childhood. I very much was protected from any of that. My mother, as I've said before, she was what people consider to be a working addict or a high-functioning addict. So she kept her stuff under wraps. She worked, she took care of me. I never knew until I got much older. I never seen drinking. I was never around these things as a kid to even know what it was or what it did to you or anything like that. So this was one of my first experiences of seeing what alcohol could do to someone, and I thought he was dead. I genuinely thought he was dead, and I remember stepping over him to see if he was breathing, and he grabbed me. He grabbed my leg, my foot, and called me the B word. And I, like, reflex just kicked in, okay? And I remember, like, falling down and just kicking him over and over and over in the face because he wouldn't let go of me, and I was scared. I just kept kicking him until he went limp. And then I jumped up and I ran. We were in the middle of nowhere too, so there's that. But I jumped up and I ran to the neighbors, and I called my grandma, his mother, and I told her everything. You know, we were drinking and him and his friend got into it. Then his friend really messed him up and I thought he was dead. And she told me, my grandmother, his mother, told me to call 911 and stay at the neighbors until the cops got there. That was my first Father's Day with this man. And I have stories for days about the things that have happened with my father. I came to the realization after having my son that I was never going to have a real relationship with my father, and it just was what it was, and I had to accept that. Of course, as I had my own children, I longed for them to be able to know their grandfather. I wanted that for them so badly, and he tried. He did. I want to give him that. I don't want to talk poorly on him in any way. Like, that's what's so hard about all of this is I don't want to paint him in a bad picture because I love him. I love him very much. And my heart does break for him right now in this moment, watching him suffer in this way. It kills me that I cannot be with him. It kills me that these are the choices he's made in his life. It kills me. What kills me the most and what hurts my heart the most is knowing the regret he has in his heart for the life that he has chose, and I don't want him to go like that. But I know I have no control over it. After he got disapproved for the liver transplant, he went back to the same lifestyle, back to using, back to drinking, and it started off with just beer and opiates from time to time to big stuff, you know, like methamphetamines and heroin and via IV and liquor every night, because beer just didn't do it for him no more. And throughout the last 5 or 6 years, when I did talk to him on the phone, I would tell him, it's going to catch up with you. Because he has been, believe it or not, so, like, such a fighter. Someone, I don't care what, you know, anyone believes in, a higher power, God, something has been looking out for this man. Because he got deathly sick. And then somehow not got better, but he kind of did. Like, he got deathly sick, was having to get fluids taken off of him every day, looked awful, absolutely awful. Skin was this like discoloration that was like a yellow, a constant hue of yellow. And he was so sick, always looked pregnant. You know, the doctors didn't give him a year. And for the last 5 years, he has still been going. Even got to a point where he was working a little bit again and not having to go get those fluids took off of him. And it was just crazy to see, because most people in his position, that's not the case. Because of that, and because I literally watched him kind of get a little bit better, I would tell him all the time, like, God is giving you a second chance. God is giving you this chance to make things right, and God's giving you this time, this extra time on your life to do things the way you really genuinely want to do them. And I know in my heart that my father there was a big part of him that wanted to be a better father, that wanted to be a better grandfather, wanted to be a better man, okay? But his addiction and his love for the nightlife took over. As he's gotten older, he didn't want to accept that he was getting older either. He always wanted to live this like bachelor lifestyle, going to the bar, going to the clubs, hanging out with younger people, you know, and just constantly just living the high life. To make a long story short, a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from family telling me that he was back in the hospital and that the doctors are saying that there's nothing that they can do for him. It's just a matter of time. Talks of dialysis and hospice getting involved. And since then, he's just went downhill. His health has deteriorated so quickly at the same time slowly, because it's been 5-6 years and I knew that this was going to happen. It's progressing fast and he is not doing okay, and unfortunately he's losing a lot of blood. His red blood cell count is off, and he's been having seizures. They've been giving him pints of blood, so many things, and he is in critical care, in and out of it, not knowing where he's at. They're talking like he's not going to get out of this. He is in a completely different state than me, so the odds of me being able to make it there to see him one last time, or just be with him, are very slim. I don't have the financial capabilities to travel right now. Also, school literally just started last week. The kids can't really be missing a lot of school. And my husband, he can't be missing work like that. We've already had a lot of things thrown at us unexpected in the last couple of months. So the reality is I'm not going to get to see him again, probably. And I may not even get to talk to him again, because he's so out of it. I've really been trying to push through, and things just keep getting worse. And I think it's just life telling me, look, if you ain't gonna slow down, we're gonna make you slow down, because that's damn sure what's happening. So I apologize to everyone for not being super active lately. Unfortunately, this isn't the only thing going on in my life, but this is a very important thing going on in my life right now. It has also brought up a lot of trauma and a lot of pain. There's a lot of things, a lot of different hardships that me and my family are currently going through at the moment, and some of that addiction is a big part of. Addiction runs in my family deep. And right now I am watching the outcome of addiction with my parents, both of them. I am so grateful for my husband through all this, because he's been the best support system. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. I'm very grateful for my husband throughout all of this. He has been the best support system anybody could ask for, and has really helped me. Really helped me. I promised y'all in a recent live stream that I would come on and I would explain a little bit more. And I think I'm going to do these in bits, because it's a lot and it's hard. It's hard to talk about these things and what's going on in my life right now. And I know I don't owe it, but I want to talk about it. I want to share a little bit of what's going on. So this is what's going on with my father. And like I said, one day I may share more. There's so much. I do want to say I love my dad. I love him. I love him so much. As I said before, I accepted him for who he was years ago. And I love him. And I hate this. I do not think he's an awful man. I don't think he's horrible. I don't want anyone else to think that. I love him, and I hate that this is how things have went. I hate it. If you guys have any positive words of encouragement or positive energy, you could send my way. Prayers, thoughts, whatever. Just know that I and my family would be so very grateful. I appreciate you guys so much for being patient with me, for being supportive and kind. it has been so very helpful, and it also just makes me so grateful for what we have built, again, both here and on my own channel. It is the one reason that I continue to want to come back and make content, and I will be back. I will be back to making content. I will be back to doing what I love on here and making content for you guys. It's just right now I have to breathe. And I know that most of you understand that, but I still just wanted to come on, give you guys an update, let you know what's going on a little bit. I will be doing more videos like this, just to talk with y'all and tell you guys things. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you made it this far, I appreciate you so much. I guess if you made it this far, tell me what you're drinking in the comments down below. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until my next one. Bye, guys.